Oh, you guys
Nice
are
to
gonna
have
make
you
me tear
on.
up again. I'm like, I didn't get teary.
It's your life.
I know, it's crazy. It's like
It's like a movie.
it's several movies. Probably could be like a documentary and several books.
Not many people are able to see that, get a chance to like witness that and see the progression. So
Yeah.
it's a privilege, definitely. It's a blessing.
Yeah. Well, let's actually introduce her and welcome her again to the show, properly. Welcome, Amber. I'm Glenn. Gia. Yeah. So today, we kind of want to get to know a little bit about your story because your guys' story is very, very interesting. It is not a statistic. It is defied so many different obstacles that would normally have taken out couples. There's couples that go through less than what you guys have gone through and haven't even made it as long as you have. So please, tell us, help us out. Understand, give us some of the goods. I'm writing a book right now that I need to know these answers.
Yes. Well, honestly, it's strange because I think a lot of people weren't raised the way I was, and I was raised by a single mother. So I know both sides of this coin. And for me, my mom has always, and I will always believe this as well, as there's no such thing as a step and there's no such thing as a half. So I don't ever, I don't use those words, and because I notice a lot of people using those words, but it almost feels visceral. It feels like negative. And when I decided to step in and be the mom for my boys, I never wanted to use the word step or bonus or whatever it is that people come up with, because I don't think that's fair. It really minimizes your connection with that person. And my mom taught me that at a young age. She said, when I had my stepdad or my stepmom, right? And she was like, it hurts their feelings. So they probably really like it if you call him daddy or you call her mom. And she's like, and your dad, and I won't care. It's just a thing you do out of respect. And so I've always been that way. I have 4 siblings. We don't have, the same parents. I'm the only one from my mom and dad, but I would never say my half brother or my half sister. It doesn't make any sense. So when I stepped into this, that was the easy part. If I can tell you, stepping in and being their mom was the easy part. And they actually, it's funny to say and think right now, but they were like the anchor. They anchored me into that relationship because things were really freaking hard, super hard. Mm-hmm. So when I wanted to give up and when I felt exhausted and I felt overwhelmed and I felt heartache and all of the things going through, it was very traumatic. Our first couple of years were very, very traumatic. And I couldn't even imagine walking away. And I told the boys that when they were really little. I'm like, I will never leave. I'll never give up on you. You're my number one, and I will trade everything for you. I literally quit my job, sold everything, moved to California with no job. And I just knew that I was going to pick them first.
I think there's a big misconception with stepmothers, right? The world wants to say that, oh, it's a part-time job, or basically you only see the kids, here or there, and the other mother is very involved. And while that may be the case in some situations, the world and a lot of online media doesn't talk about the other side of things, right? Because myself, I walked into an instant family, right? When I got married, I took on my son, who I adopted. But at the time, the mother wasn't in the picture at all. And I had to take full responsibility of that. And I became mother. I was the only person in his life. So I think that doesn't get said a lot in the media. We always kind of look at stepmothers as somebody who just doesn't really have the full responsibility. There's just not enough about women who are self-sacrificing, who take on that role completely, right? They don't just marry the man, they marry the entire family unit. Yeah. So you did that. And I want to ask you, when you first started dating Tito, was there a big adjustment stepping in with a single father? What was one of the major adjustments that you had to handle?
Well, stepping into Tito's world, obviously everyone, knows that it was a very tumultuous time in his life. It was very difficult. He actually had 2 nannies at the time. So when I came in to the picture. This is another thing that my mom taught me, and I don't think a lot of people take this into consideration either. When you're dating a single parent, you need to take in consideration how you're going to meet the children. You can't just be this person who shows up in their life. So I was very strategic about how I was going to meet the boys. Like, I had been dating Tito for over a month before I was like, well, maybe we can have like a barbecue and we can have multiple friends come over and then you can introduce me as this new friend, because they're little. Like, they were only 4 years old. So for me, I was like, I have to be responsible in that way as a friend and as a person. And it helped a lot, though, that Tito and I have known each other since 2001. So
I was gonna say, you guys knew each other for like a long time
Yeah.
already. Like, you actually saw him go through that whole mess, you know, and
Same thing on my end. I knew my husband in 2000.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a long time.
my question would be more like, when you decided you wanted to get into this, like, obviously it's Tito Ortiz, right? He is the Huntington Beach bad boy at the time. And, you know, he is title after title, you know, owner, right? He was like the king of the octagon, right? So like, he was at this pinnacle point. So anybody can see like, oh yeah, of course, Tito Ortiz. But the man behind the camera, the man behind the scenes is different than what we see, right?
Yeah.
And in the middle of that storm that he was going through, like, what made you stay? Because I mean, those probably were the darkest times for him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, being a single dad and everything at the same time.
Well, this is the hardest part is, you know, during all of that tumultuousness and that breakup and then, you know, the custody battle and all of those crazy things, he was actually in a lull in his fighting career. And,
Yeah.
you know, when people go, oh, you know, he just didn't, you know, perform well. And it really wasn't that. Fighting is so 80% mental, and Tito is such a like emotional being, and because of how tumultuous his life was at home, it transcended. It was part of his fights, and that's why he was on like a losing streak. It wasn't going well.